Hello viewers, welcome back. On the 13th day session, we are here to deal with les adjectifs démonstratifs, la négation et l'interrogation. We're going to deal with the three topics. Okay. So firstly, we'll get into les adjectifs démonstratifs right away. Okay. Les adjectifs démonstratifs. Even in the last session I told you what is an adjective. An adjective qualifies a noun. Okay, adjective qualifies a noun. And here we can see demonstrative. Okay, the word demonstrative itself tells you you're demonstrating, you're showing something. Okay, you're showing something, you're pointing out. So a demonstrative adjective is used to point out. Okay, you point out one object or a group of objects. Okay, or a group of objects from all of its kind, from all others of its kind. Okay, from all others, like you have a group of something, of all the group. Okay, you point out one particular thing and say this school, this lady. There are lots of ladies, and you are pointing out to that particular lady and say this lady. Okay, and demonstrative adjectives in French are ce, cette, and c'est. Ce, cette, and c'est. We have four forms. Okay. Ce you use for masculine, cet you use for feminine, and set you use for masculine words starting with a vowel. Okay. So these two, sir and set together, is used for masculine only. And say, this is for masculine, feminine, plural. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, sir, set, say, all these mean this or that. Okay, so both of them means sir, set, okay, sir, set means this or that. Okay, now for example, here when I want to say adjective, when I said adjective qualifies a noun. Here you have a noun. Okay, and it's qualifying. Restaurant, what? This restaurant. Okay, what is this? It is demonstrative in nature. It is showing one particular thing. Okay, of all the group, and they are pointing out this particular restaurant. One or group also, because when it comes to plural, you can point out to a group also. Now, apart from that, we have the plural form. Say. This means, okay, say means these or those. Okay, you may ask, how do they differentiate between this and that? That depends on the listener. The listener will make it out, okay, based on the context, what they are referring to. This is for proximity, that is for distance. This, that. Okay, so that depends on the listener who listens and gets it. And if you want to precisely make it, you want to particularize the one over here, this restaurant particular, you want to insist on that, you can add up si and la by this word. Okay, ce restaurant si. You can say ce restaurant si, or you can say ce restaurant la. If you want to insist, it's not needed. If you want to insist, you can add up these words, si and la, for this. Ce restaurant si, ce restaurant là. Ce livre si, ce livre là. Si here, là there. Proximity and distance. Ce restaurant si, ce restaurant là. Okay? Cet hôtel si, cet hôtel là. Now, you can ask me, sir, how, for example, for masculine, you are using sir. Okay? For masculine, starting with the vowel, we have a form. How about feminine starting with a vowel? How about feminine starting with a vowel? That's why I gave an example already with Ami. You can see E, A, vowel. Set, Ami. The sound doesn't matter, okay, doesn't bother at all. These two vowels are pronounced separately, so no problem. Whereas here, when you read it with se, imagine, okay, assume that we are doing it sir. Sir, hotel. Two vowels are pronounced, so it doesn't sound good. So that's why we go for sir. Sir, imagine if sir appartement doesn't sound good. Sir appartement, because two vowels are pronounced here. So we go for set. Whereas here the sound is good. Cet ami, cette école. Okay? It's only for the pleasant sound sake they do the elision and they avoid different forms. Okay? So here we don't, in feminine form you don't have anything starting with a vowel. Okay? Only for the masculine form you have a separate form called set starting with a vowel. Okay? So the demonstrative adjectives in French are ce, set, masculine, feminine. Okay? Set for masculine words starting with a vowel, and say for plural. Okay? So this restaurant, this book. I want to insist. This restaurant here, this restaurant there. If you want to say, if you want to insist, you can use. This is optional if you want. But the speaker will know what you're talking about. Okay? I said, sir itself has got these two meanings. Sir itself has got this or that. Okay? Even say also got this or that. If you want, here also you can add up si and la. If you want to insist. Say restaurant si, so share. These restaurants here are cheap. Expensive, pardon. Okay. Ces restaurants ça, là, sont confortables. You can talk anything about when you want to insist si and la. Got that? So, the demonstrative adjectives in French will be ce, set, and c'est. Okay? Ce restaurant, this restaurant, ce livre, this book, cet hôtel, this hotel, cet appartement, this apartment, cette femme, this lady, cette amie, this girlfriend, feminine, okay, amie, this girlfriend, cette école, this school. Okay, when it's plural, you use ces restaurant and ces femmes. These ladies. Okay, I've used masculine form, one for masculine, one for feminine. I just added up yes, but I don't pronounce the yes. The yes is not pronounced. Ces restaurant, ces femmes. Okay, if you need, you can add up the si and la if you want to particularly insist, or else you don't need that. The listener to whom you are talking to will understand it, what you are talking about. You are talking about the proximity or the distance, and you will get to know whether it's this or that. Got that? So now, before getting into the application, let's get. So here, what is the main thing is that you should know there will be different nouns given to you. For example, stylo. There will be given different. For example, chaise. They will be giving fauteuil. You should know the gender of it. Stylo, masculine. Chaise, feminine. Fauteuil, masculine. Okay. You should know the gender of it. Cahier, masculine. Gomme, feminine. Once you know the gender, I told you getting the gender is very important in French. Getting the gender and the conjugation. I told you the conjugation. When you conjugate with the endings, when it's er, ir and all the irregular verbs, we did the verbs that day, the irregular verbs. Okay, so that and this, knowing the gender is very important. Okay, once you know the gender, it will be easy, you can apply this. When you can usually apply sir when you know that the word is masculine. How do I know this word is masculine? I told you a dictionary will help you out. Or you can ask a teacher, or the first exposure. Restaurant, masculine. Le restaurant, le restaurant, le restaurant. Femme, feminine. La femme, la femme, la femme. So, then hotel, an hotel, an hotel, an hotel. It starts the vowel. An hotel. Okay? Or l'hotel. Whatever. L'appartement, an appartement, an appartement. Masculine starting the vowel. Okay, so depending upon the gender of the nouns, you can easily go for masculine or feminine or masculine. Plural, never mind, this is the only form. Plural, never mind, you get only this form. For masculine starting with the vowel, you have separate form. Sir, set, say. These are the four words you're going to use now. Okay, and since you're all beginners, I've marked in there with masculine, feminine. That I told you when you're tested on that demonstrative adjective, they would not give you like this, restaurant masculine, livre masculine. They would not give you like that. They would not mark and tell you, and you have to learn it by practice. Okay, you get accustomed to that. see the word again and again, you'll get to know that. Okay, let's get into the application part now. Voila. Now you can see the file there. Ok. Complétez avec les adjectifs démonstratifs ce, cette, c'est. Professeur est nouveau. Okay. So I've given professor. Now here the complement is not important for us, but it is important if you want to learn vocabulary. But here, since we need time, short of time, we will just click on only to the noun. Professor, masculine, I've given here. So what you will get? Sir or set or set or say. So masculine starting with a consonant. So only C. Okay, étudiant. Likewise, you have to frame it and let's see the answer. Okay. Dash étudiant est français. First, you can see the translation on the right hand side. I'll just read the sentence in French. Okay. If you want the translation, you can see on the right hand side. Dash professeur est nouveau. Dash étudiant est français. Nous habitons à côté de dash gare. Combien coûte dash orange? Tu comprends dash explication? It's with a question mark, so you have an intonation. Tu comprends dash explication? Next. Sixth one. Dash montre n'est pas bonne. Quel est le prix de dash article? Il doit envoyer dash télégramme. Elle veut regarder dash émission. Dash couleur est parfaite. Je n'aime pas dash cerise. You can see on the right hand side the translation of it. Okay, I don't like cherries. Now, vous admirez dash actrice? Vous admirez dash actrice? Next. Je trouve dash idée fantastique. Dash chemisier vous va bien. Dash avion est trop petit. Dash quartier est très beau. Vous connaissez dash église? With a question mark. Okay? The dash in French we say tire, but I don't want to confuse you by saying the word tire. Okay, so I say dash so that you can understand the dash is there. So what the word I have to use in there. Okay? So those who speak English, it will be easy for you to get it. Vous connaissez dash église. Vous connaissez dash église? Goes with the intonation. Sorry. Okay? Dash voiture est belle. Le professeur explique dash règle. Il aime raconter dash histoire. Je veux acheter dash disque. Regardez dash vieille dame. Dash ordinateur est cher. Dites à homme d'attendre. Prenez dash bouteille. So here I've given you a clue. In each of the sentences easy for you. Masculine, masculine, feminine, feminine plural, feminine plural, plural never mind, you stick on only to CES. Okay, so these oranges, these explanations, it will be easy. For plural never mind, whether it's masculine or feminine, no problem. Okay, masculine, feminine, plural will always take CES. When it's feminine, you go for CETTE. Only for masculine, starting with a vowel and without a vowel, that is with a consonant, you got to choose. And I've given you the indications there. So it will be easy for you. Okay. So you're going to tell me the answer. I'll just scroll it once again. Just you can write the answer if you want. Just a second, I'll just scroll it once again. Professeur est nouveau, étudiant est français, nous habitons à côté dash gare, combien coûte dash orange, tu comprends dash explication, dash montre n'est pas bon, quel est le prix de dash article, Il doit envoyer dash télégramme. Elle veut regarder dash émission. Dash couleur est parfaite. Je n'aime pas dash séries. Vous admirez dash actrice. Je trouve dash idée fantastique. Dash chemisier vous va bien. Dash avion est trop petit. Dash quartier est très beau. Vous connaissez dash église. Dash voiture est belle. Le professeur explique dash règles. Il aime raconter dash histoire, plural, no problem. Je veux acheter dash disque, masculine, starting with the consonant. Regardez dash vieille dame, feminine, you know that. Dash ordinateur est cher. Okay, you can see masculine, but it starts with the vowel. You got to be careful. Dites à dash homme d'attendre, masculine, again H mute. H and Y I told you, you got to be careful there. Prenez dash bouteille, feminine. Go ahead. Now the answers. You can check your answers. See, you have written this or you have guessed it, right? Ce professeur est nouveau. Cet étudiant est français. Nous habitons à côté de cette gare. Combien coûtent ces oranges? Combien coûtent ces oranges? Tu comprends ces explications? Cette montre n'est pas bonne. Quel est le prix de cet article? Il doit envoyer ses télégrammes. Elle veut regarder cette émission. Cette couleur est parfaite. Je n'aime pas ces séries. Vous admirez cette actrice? Vous admirez cette actrice? Je trouve cette idée fantastique. Ce chemisier vous va bien. Cet avion est trop petit. Ce quartier est très beau. Vous connaissez cette église? Cette voiture est belle. Le professeur explique cette règle. Il aime raconter ses histoires. Je veux acheter ces disques. Regardez cette vieille dame. Cet ordinateur est cher. Dites à cet homme d'attendre. Prenez cette bouteille. Alright? So, you got the demonstrative adjectives and you should know where to use it. Okay, demonstrative adjective I told you. This is used to point out one object or group of objects from all others of its kind. Okay, so sir, set and say will be used for that. And if you want, you can add up si and la in order to insist on the proximity and the distance. It is also understood, this and that, it is also understood by the listener who is listening to it. He can guess it with the context. Okay. But if you want to insist, you can use si and la. Okay. These are the words, demonstrative adjectives. Okay. Now, let's get into the next topic. La négation. Negation. How to negate a sentence. Okay. It's easy, the negation, if you follow. Okay, now. I'm giving you a sentence. Okay. Je parle anglais. Subject, verb and complement. Je parle anglais. I speak English. So this is an affirmative sentence. This is an affirmative sentence. To make this affirmative sentence a negative sentence, what you do in French is nothing but negation here in French is nothing but ne dash pas. What is this dash? In this dash you get the verb. You get the verb in between. Ne pas. Ne pas. Negation in French is nothing but ne pas. Ne pas. So I speak English. Okay, I'm going to negate it. I want to say I don't speak English. How do they say? I put ne and pas on the either side of the verb. This is a verb. This is a verb. Parle. Okay. Parle. Je parle anglais. So I put ne pas on the either side of the word. When I put ne pas on the either side of the verb, it means, okay, I don't speak English. I don't or I do not speak English. In English you can see you are introducing a verb do. Okay, you are introducing. I speak English. In French we just put ne pas. We don't add up any other word. But in English we add up the word do. I do not speak. You don't say I speak not English. You don't say that. We are introducing do. Whereas here the verb will be only one. Parler, that's it. Parle. Parle will be conjugated. Ne pas should be added on the other side. You get it? So negation is nothing but ne pas. Okay, and this ne pas got to be on the either side of the verb. And there are different set of sentences wherein ne pas is placed elsewhere. We'll deal with it. Okay, now first we had an affirmative sentence. The affirmative sentence, when it is negated, you put ne pas. Next, I'm giving you now an example of passé composé. J'ai parlé. J'ai parlé. We're going to stop with this. J'ai parlé. I have spoken. Here, subject, auxiliary, and the past participle. J'ai parlé. I have spoken. I speak. You have subject verb. You negated it. Now, a parler together is a verb. I have spoken. Have spoken together is a word. But still, when you negate it, we are negating only the auxiliary. So this is the auxiliary verb. This is in the passé composé. This is the past tense. We didn't deal about the past tense, but I'm just telling you. This is the past tense. Okay, past tense will go like this. Okay. So, a parler together means have spoken. Okay, have spoken. But I'm not putting na here and pa here. But I'm putting na over here and pa over here, only for the auxiliary. So there are two vowels here meeting again. N-E, I put N apostrophe and this E resumes. Okay, first it was AI, there was a vowel clash. Now since N comes in between, the E comes back to its original. Okay, so je n'ai pas parlé. Okay, again, so this is an affirmative sentence negated. This is passé composé negated. Now, inversion negated. You should know what is inversion. Before getting on it, I'll just tell you. When we conjugated the verb, for the je parle, when we conjugated the verb, we wrote the subject je parle. Tu parles. Likewise, right? Subject verb. Okay. When I want to make it interrogation, when I want to make it a question, interrogative sentence, or when I want to make it an interrogative sentence, okay, interrogative conjugation, the same conjugation, this is an affirmative conjugation. When I want to make an interrogative conjugation, what I do is, I put it, okay, the other way. Here the subject was first and then the verb. Now I put the verb first and then the subject again, after. Now, for the same verb parler, I write parle hyphen je with a question mark. Parle hyphen tu with a question mark. Parle hyphen il. But when I put parle hyphen il, there are two vowels meeting here. Doesn't sound good. Parle il. So we add up a T for the pronunciation's sake. For the sake of the pronunciation, we add up this T. So where does the T comes from? We don't know, but for the sound's sake, it's good. Parle je, parle tu. Sorry, there's this. Okay, parle je, parle tu, parle til. We add up a T. and also for the ill form. Parle, tell. We add up a T. We add up a T just because there are two vowels meeting and the sound isn't good. So we add up the T. Now we have link. Parle-til, parle-tel. So hyphenated words should be read as one and should not be separated. Parle-je, parle-tu, parle-til, parle-tel. So in inversion you get this thing. Parle-til and again. Parlons-nous, parlez-vous. We didn't do this when we are doing the affirmative conjugation because lack of time. Parle-t-il, parle-t-elle. So here we got a T already in here. Normally we pronounce this as parle only, but when the next word starts the vowel, there is a link. Parle-til, parle-tel. Whereas here the two vowels meeting, so we put a T. Here we parle, 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 parle. I say parle-il. No, we don't say parle because it ends with a T. So the T combines that il and becomes parle-til, parle-tel. So for ill form we don't add this. So this is the interrogative conjugation of the verb parler. Likewise, I write, okay, for example I write, veux-tu sortir? Do you want to go out? Veux-tu sortir? Okay, literal translation, want you. This is want, vouloir verb conjugated. Want you to go out. Do you want? Okay, do you want to go out? Now, as I told you, napa should be placed on the either side of the verb. Now I am going to put napa here. Now hyphenated word should not be separated. It's hyphenated, so it's one word. So what do I put? Before the verb I said. Okay, so I put it over here. What do I put pa? It should not be separated. I put pa over here. So look at the question for a single verb, an affirmative sentence, present tense, napa, imperfect. And in all the other tense, when you have only one verb, you put napa. When you have an auxiliary verb, only auxiliary will be negated. When you have an inversion, the inversion together will be kept as such, and we put na, and the pa will come after the subject. You got that? Okay? Next. Okay. Next. If you have a helping verb like this, for example, two verbs, a helping verb. Il veut manger. Il veut manger. He wants to eat. He wants to eat. Here there are two verbs, so the main verb is manger. Okay, this is a helping verb. So normally the verb which is conjugated will have this napa. Okay, so verb which is conjugated, the first verb which is conjugated will have the negation. Okay, this is the main verb. He wants. He wants what? To eat. Eat is a main verb. But still, in negation, the conjugated word will be negated. Je ne, first conjugated word. Je ne veux pas manger. So ne pas is ordered for help, added over on the other side of the conjugated, the first conjugated word. You get that? Next. And another thing, you want to use what I wanted. I already told you this, but I already told you this. Can you see that? Yeah. Indefinite article, that is indefinite article. A, win, they. These are indefinite article. We learned it long time back. Okay, a, win, they. And partitive article, dui, de la, de, l apostrophe. Indefinite article and partitive article in a sentence, when you are negating, it becomes de. That is also another rule that you have to remember. For example, I am writing il veut du sel. Whatever. Il veut du sel. He wants some salt. I am negating this. Okay. When I am negating, what I do, I put napa on the other side. I am writing it again so that you can understand. Il veut Il ne veut pas. Okay, ne pas. Okay, he wants some salt. Some salt. I'm negating. Il ne veut pas. This dwi, because the rule says indefinite article and partitive article becomes de. So it changes to de. The cell. This you have to remember. Okay. Another example also I can give you. For example, il a un livre. He has a book. Has, our verb, has. It's negated now. Il n'a pas. Sorry. Il n'a pas. Okay. Ne and pa is added on the either side. There is a vowel clash. E. So it's removed. Il n'a pas. This a will become it. The livre. Okay. It's a rule. The rule says so. Indefinite article a, win, they, and partitive article dui, dela, they, del, apostrophe. When you are dealing with negation, when you are putting ne pa on the other side, if it is partitive article and if it is indefinite article, when you are negating it, when you are putting ne pa, okay, that is when you are negating it, this partitive article becomes de, and even the indefinite articles becomes de. But there is an exception. When you are using the verb at. And the verbs of state, they say that you don't have to know, just try to know at when you are using the verb at. Okay, for example, I say c'est un cahier. This is, we are using the verb at. This is a notebook. Okay, this is a notebook. I am negating it. Sir n'est pas. I am negating it. As I said, U1 will become D, right? Here U1 becomes D, right? Here U1 is there. But I am not, will become D, right? Here U1 becomes D, right? Here U1 is there. But I am not making it D. I just put Why? Because the rule says when you are using the at, this is an exception. The rule says indefinite article and partitive article when negated becomes D. Okay. Here you see I gave an example with partitive article and with an indefinite article. But this is an exception. You get the verb, okay. This is an exception. When you get the verb at, okay, you don't get it. Okay. For example, I give you. Je suis un menteur. I am a liar. I am a liar. I am negating it. So what I do? I put ne and pas. Je ne suis pas. I am not. Je ne suis pas. Je ne suis pas. Am remains the same. You told am will be, okay, because here we are using the at. At is an exception. Whenever you get at in the sentence, the rule is not applied. Apart from that, it is applied there. Got me? So, get back to this. Negation is nothing but adding ne pas on the other side of the verb. Affirmative sentence given to us, there is a verb there, you put ne pas on the other side. When it is past tense, okay, like passé composé, presque parfait and all the, okay, conditional passé and all that stuff, you have an auxiliary verb and the past participle. Okay, for only the auxiliary verb will be negated. Okay, affirmative, passé composé, and when it's inversion in the sense, I told you, we put ulta. Okay, first subject and the verb and then the subject. Okay, this interrogative conjugation. So, and I also mentioned there is a T added up here for the sound sake. Okay, when it's inversion like this, what do I put? Okay, it should be on the either side of the verb. I told you verb. Now its verb is here in the front. Okay, so verb in front of the word we put na, and after the subject, because you are not allowed to cut this hyphenated words to be together. So you put pa after that. And even with imperative sentence also, if for example, regard, if it's an imperative, look. Regard, imperative, look over there. You can, just the verb is there, you put na pa on the other side. So I put na and pa. No regard pa, don't look. Okay, ne regarde pas. Okay, regarde, ne regarde pas. Got that? So, let's recall affirmative sentence. Ne pas is not on the other side of the verb. When it's passé composé, only the auxiliary verb, passé, not only passé composé, all the past tense and okay, conditional past, everything. When you have a auxiliary verb, the auxiliary verb will be negated first, the past parts will be left alone. And when it is inversion, okay, the hyphenated word are not separated, na in front of the verb and then pa. Okay, and if you have a helping verb like this, you'll work only na pa on the other side and you put pa on the other thing. Okay, and there's also another rule. I want to confuse you right now. Okay, this is enough. Okay, when you want to negate the infinitive, na pa will be together in front of the infinitive. Okay, that's another rule. Okay, you don't have to deal with that. So just indefinite article and partitive article when negated becomes de, but that rule doesn't apply with at. Okay, with atra it's an exception. It is not followed here. Without the verb atra, it is followed. Here it's savoir, here it's full verb. Negation with partitive article and indefinite article becomes de. So these are the rules you got to remember with negation. But then now we'll pass on to the exercises and apply what you have learned. Let us see how you are going to do that. There you are. Okay. Now, mettez les phrases à la forme négative. Put in the negative form. So how do you negate it? Put ne pas. And vowel clash you got to be careful. N apostrophe. It becomes when the verb starts with the vowel, you should put N apostrophe. Ne pas is negation, but the verb starts with the vowel, you put N apostrophe. Right? Okay, let's apply it. Now, je regarde. Regarde is a verb. Je regarde la publicité. Okay, you can see the translation for that on the right hand side. Okay, I'm not reading it. Nous possédons une usine. Okay, possédons, that's a verb. Okay, that's a verb because you should know what the verb is so that you can negate it easily. Put na pa on the other side of the verb. Okay, you can put na here and you can put pa here. Likewise, possédons, you can put na here and pa here. And I told you when there is an indefinite article or a partitive article, what do you get? You know that. Next, vas-tu. As I said, okay, hyphenated word should not be separated. So, whatever, okay, get it. Then, next, je joue aux cartes. Okay, je joue aux cartes. That's a verb, joue. Hyphenated word, remember that. Na over here and pa over here. Okay. Next, je joue. Joue is the verb, na, pa. Habite, na, pa. And be careful, H is a mute over here. So it's considered to be a vowel there. And then, j'adore. Adore is a verb. J'adore le golf. Étudie. Étudie is a verb. I'll come back to it again. Okay. Allons. Imperative here. This is a verb. Allons is a verb. Passé composé. Ils ont fait. Auxiliary verb. Past participle. Il y a. Okay. Here this is an expression. We need a different. Okay. The pronoun will also be negated. I didn't express that thing. If you have a pronoun in front of the verb, the pronoun will also be negated. Okay. So the ne comes here, the pronoun and then the verb and then pa. And the rule of un, win, they will also be applied here. Next, mon ami aime cet acteur. Okay. Next, elle veut. Aime is the verb. Okay. Aime is the verb here. Veut manger. Here you have two verbs here. Wants to eat. To eat is the main verb, but where do you put negation? Only on the first conjugated verb. Okay. Now next, I have the verb. J'ai un livre. Okay. Ne pas on the other side. Now here you can see that. Tu te laves. Okay. We saw the pronominal verbs. Here I said tu is the subject, lave is a verb, and this is a pronoun. So when you get a pronoun, this pronoun should also, the pronoun I said it will come before the verb. And this pronoun also got to be negated. So the ne should come over here. Tu ne te lève pas. So you said only for the verb ne pas should be on the other side. Now we got te. Okay, te is a pronoun. The pronoun also got to be negated. Okay, so ne te lève pas. The pronouns, replace pronoun should also be negated. So ne starts here and pas comes after the verb. Écoute, imperative again. Sa blessure est guérie. A is a verb, negated. Next, mangions. Mangions is a verb, negated. And you also be careful with the indefinite and partitive article. Check whether you have un, win, they, or du, de la, de l'apostrophe. Next, I said with être, this is not possible. So now, this rule is not possible. So here, we got the verb être. Okay, when indefinite article and partitive article negated becomes de, but here so is there, the être verb is there, and we are going to negate it. What happens to they? You have to tell me. Okay, now you got a pronoun. Subject is here, the verb is here, and a pronoun, reflexive pronoun. So I said the pronoun also got to be negated. So ne comes in over here. Je ne m'appelle pas. Okay. Next. Tu viens. Viens is conjugated verb. So first conjugated verb will have the negation. Okay. I'll read it once for their pronunciation. Okay. You should know what the verb is first. Okay. And then put ne pas. Je regarde les publicités. Nous possédons une usine. Vas-tu au collège? Je joue aux cartes. Elle habite à Dallas. J'adore le golf. Tu étudies ici. With a question mark, so there's got to be an intonation. So, tu étudies ici? Tu étudies ici? Next. Allons à la scène. Sorry. Allons à la science de soir. Ils ont fait leur devoir. Il y a un entr'acte. Mon ami aime cet acteur. Elle veut manger du riz. J'ai un livre. Tu te lèves à 6 heures. Écoute. Sa blessure est guérie. Nous mangions des fruits. Ce sont des livres. Je m'appelle Pierre. Tu viens de rentrer. Now, let us supply ne and pas on the other side of the verb and check the answers. You can see that. Je regarde. Regarde is a verb. You put ne and pas on the other side. I put it in capital letter for you to spot it out clearly. Okay, to highlight it, I just gave it in red and in capital letter. You need not write in capital letter, just for you to understand where ne and pas is placed. Okay. Je ne regarde pas les publicités. No problem with the definite article. I said only with the indefinite article and partitive article we have the problem. Nous possédons. Nous ne possédons pas. There was win over here, that becomes de, but it starts the vowel, so d apostrophe. U. Okay, usine. So d apostrophe. I said inversion. Okay, hyphenated word, not to separate it. So ne and pas. Ne vas-tu pas au collège? Ne vas-tu pas au collège? Okay, joue is a verb. Ne joue pas. Habite is a verb. Okay, je ne joue pas aux cartes. Habite is a verb. Starts, okay, vowel, so n apostrophe. Elle n'habite pas à Dallas. Adore. Okay, je n'adore pas le golf. Okay, ne and pas on the other side of the verb. Tu n'étudies pas ici. Okay, with an intonation. Tu n'étudies pas ici. Tu n'étudies pas ici. There got to be an intonation. Okay, next. Whenever you have an affirmative with a question mark, we have an intonation. Now, imperative. N'allons pas à la science de soir. Okay, n'allons pas. Next. Passé composé, here, on fait. So, whenever you get auxiliary verb, auxiliary only will be negated. Ils n'ont pas fait le devoir. Next. Il n'y a pas. I told you this pronoun here. Okay. Ne, ni, a, pas. Entr'acte. Okay. On entr'acte, the article was, okay, win, they, and partitive article I told you, so it becomes de. T vowel is there, so D apostrophe. Okay, it starts with a vowel, so D apostrophe. It got to be de, but it starts with a vowel, so D apostrophe. Mon ami n'aime pas cet acteur. Am is the verb, doesn't like. Okay, so I told you verb manger, the two verbs. Main verb is manger. Okay, but first conjugated verb got to be negated. So elle ne veut pas, she doesn't want to eat the riz. Here the rice, partitive article negated into D. When it's negated, it becomes D. So D is there. Next, I have a book. You saw that. Okay, so nepa is added up and it becomes D. And again I told you with the pronoun, tu te lèves. You get up yourself. Literally translating, you get up yourself. The pronoun, reflexive pronoun is placed before. And I told you the negation ne pas should also negate the pronoun. Okay, so tu ne te lèves pas. So te should also, the pronoun should also be negated. Ne te lèves. Tu ne te lèves pas à 6 heures. Next, imperative, the verb alone stands here, so ne and pas on the other side. N'écoute pas, don't listen. Next, a is a verb, guéri, a guéri. Okay, être conjugate, okay, ne pas is placed on the other side. Okay, sa blessure n'est pas guérie, is not cured. Next, nous mangions, partitive article was there, du, ne pas is added on the other side of the verb, it becomes de. And I told you there is an exception with this être verb. Whenever être verb comes, the rule is not applied. Indefinite or partitive remains the same. So is an être verb here, ne pas is added up on the other side. Okay, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change to e. Why? Because it is using the verb être. We are using the verb être here. And again, je m'appelle, reflexive verb here, reflexive verb s'appeler conjugated. So je subject, me reflexive pronoun, appelle verb. So ne pas, even the pronoun got to be negated. Je ne m'appelle pas Pierre. Next, tu viens de rentrer was there. So venir is a verb conjugated. The first verb conjugated should be negated. So tu ne viens pas de rentrer. Okay. Now we will switch over, and the last thing I want to talk about is interrogation. Interrogation, forming a question. Interrogation. Okay. Interrogation. For example, I say, vous parlez français. Vous parlez français. Okay. You speak French. Okay. An affirmative sentence. Okay. An affirmative. You speak French. Affirmative sentence. When you are negating it, what do? Verb, I put na, I put pa. That's negation. We saw previously. Okay. Na and pa should be on the other side. Now, vous parlez français, affirmative sentence. Now, I am making it into a question, interrogation. There are three forms of interrogation. There are three forms of interrogation in French. What are they? Okay. First is intonation. We call it intonation, intonation, intonation. Okay, there is an up and down in the when you pronounce it. Okay, when you speak. Okay, you see, vous parlez français. I read the same thing over here. Vous parlez français. I read the same thing. Vous parlez français, and I put a question mark at the end. You got to note this question mark. Whenever you note the question mark, okay, you should be careful. When you look at the question mark, there got to be an intonation. Okay, I read this as vous parlez français. I cannot read the same way because there is a question mark and this is intonation. Vous parlez français? It got to, vous parlez français? It becomes a question. Vous parlez français? That's affirmative. Vous parlez français? Now, I put a question mark and I give an intonation. Vous parlez français? Vous parlez français? That's an intonation. Okay? Vous parlez français? Vous parlez français? It goes with an intonation. So it becomes a question. So with a question mark, an affirmative, same affirmative sentence with the question mark, got to go with the intonation. And this can be used only in oral form, only when you speak. Okay, only when you speak they use this form because it's easy. Parlez français. Okay, you can just ask a question. Parlez français? Vous allez à l'école? Vous allez à l'école? You going to school? Okay, vous allez à l'école? So same affirmative, put a question mark and add up an intonation. One type of forming question. Another one, we call it est-ce que. We call it est-ce que. Est-ce que literally translated is it that? Okay, est-ce que. It goes like that. Okay, instead of that you can say est-ce que. It sounds like this. S because it's hyphenated. One word. Est-ce que. Est-ce que. Est-ce que. Okay. Now I'm writing est-ce que. S. This is pronounced as yes sir. No. Est-ce que. And I write the same affirmative sentence here. Vous parlez français. So, what I'm using est-ce que. And if you got any vowel, okay, any pronoun starting with a vowel, you have to put the apostrophe. Be careful with that. Est-ce que, when it has a vowel, kill, kill and all that, there's a vowel clash. You got, the E disappears. Est-ce qu'il. Okay, if the sentence starts with a vowel, the subject. Okay, so est-ce que always followed by subject and a verb. Okay, est-ce que should always be followed by a subject and a verb. Est-ce que vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? So this is with an intonation. Vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? Next, okay, we have the inversion. We have the inversion. So three forms, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, inversion. Inversion is, for example, I said, vous parlez. I conjugated the verb parler, I put the ulta form. You saw that, right? The other way around. Je parle, tu parles. I translated parle je, parle tu. I did it that way. Parle je, parle tu, parle-t-il. I added up a T. Okay, parle-t-il. Likewise, now I'm going to, okay, interchange the position. This subject, this verb. First, I'm going to put the verb. And I'm going to put the vous. Vous parlez will become parlez-vous. You speak French, speak you French. Literal translation. I'm literally translating it. It's not the right translation. Okay? So this becomes inversion. Vous parlez, affirmative sentence becomes parlez-vous. Nous parlons will become parlons-nous. Okay? Tu parles will become parles-tu. With an hyphen. Hyphen means it should be read as one word. Okay, this also I said hyphen. Est-ce que. Est-ce que. Est-ce que vous parlez français? So there are three forms. One with intonation. So whatever the same affirmative form will be here. Subject, verb, complement with the question mark. But it should not be read the same way. You speak French. You speak French. It goes with an. You speak French. It goes with an. Likewise. Vous parlez français? Vous parlez français? Vous parlez français? Goes with an intonation. Next, with an est-ce que. You put est-ce que, same affirmative sentence. Vous parlez français. Here, you don't need est-ce que, you can do it any way you want. Est-ce que vous parlez français? Here, the intonation is very important. Okay, because it's in and it's orally used. These are the written forms. These two are used in writing. Okay, written form. Est-ce que vous parlez français? Literally translated. Literal. What is this, sir? Est-ce que? I can literally translate it as is, it, that. But you don't do it. Okay, this is wrong. I tell you, vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? Parlez-vous français? All these three means, do you speak French? All the three, the translation, vous parlez français? Est-ce que vous parlez français? Parlez-vous français? Do you speak French? All the three shows only one translation, gives only one translation. Do you speak French? All the three means the same. But there are three different ways of doing it. One in the oral form, one with esca form, one with inversion. So, esca form, or intonation form, we just write the same affirmative sentence with a question mark, but we read it with an intonation. For esca, we write esca followed by subject verb, the same affirmative, we just write it. And here, the inversion, we put the verb first and then the subject second, and we make it that way. Okay? So, intonation, esca, and inversion. Now, we'll get into the application part. We won't have much time to go ahead with that, but still, I'll just show you with the answers so that you can understand it. Okay. Now, can you see that? Voilà. Il travaille à Chennai. He works at Chennai. So this with the question mark is there. So how do you ask this? With a question mark. I said whenever with a question mark there should be an intonation. So you should ask Il travaille à Chennai. Il travaille à Chennai. Okay. Next, the esca form. Est-ce qu'il travaille à Chennai? Est-ce qu'il travaille à Chennai? When you put esca, you just copy the same thing, the affirmative form, and you just copy it with esca. And then, without esca, what I do, I interchange verb first and then the subject. When I put verb first, there are two vowels. I told you can put a T for the linking, for the sound sake. So, travaille-t-il à Chennai? Travaille-t-il à Chennai? Okay, does he work at Chennai? All these three means, does he work at Chennai? Il travaille à Chennai, does he work at Chennai? Est-ce qu'il travaille à Chennai, does he work at Chennai? Travaille-t-il à Chennai, does he work at Chennai? There are three different forms. This you use it in the oral form, this first form, esca, and this one in the bold letters will be used in the written form. Now I have given you some examples with the answers already there. You can see. Tu vas au restaurant. Tu vas au restaurant. Intonation. Tu vas au restaurant. Est-ce que tu vas au restaurant? Vas-tu au restaurant? The meaning is given here one in the blues. Are you going to the restaurant? All these things. All the three means the same thing. This. But this, the one in the red, is used in the written form. This in the oral form. When you speak, we use it. Got that? Next. Il va intonation. Il va à l'école à 7 heures. Il va à l'école à 7 heures. Il va à l'école à 7 heures. Non. Est-ce qu'il va à l'école à 7 heures? Va-t-il à l'école à 7 heures? Next. Il reçoit ma lettre. Il reçoit ma lettre. Intonation. Est-ce qu'il reçoit ma lettre? Est-ce que forme? Reçoit-il ma lettre? Est-ce que forme? Inversion. Next. Fourth one. Vous invitez vos amis? Vous invitez vos amis? Est-ce que vous invitez vos amis? Invitez-vous vos amis? Next one. Vous allez en France? Vous allez en France? Est-ce que vous allez en France? Allez-vous en France? Next. Elle parle 4 langues? Elle parle 4 langues? Okay, intonation. Est-ce qu'elle parle 4 langues? Parle-t-elle 4 langues? Next. Seventh one. What is that? Okay. Il aime cette... Okay, with an intonation. Il aime cette ville? Il aime cette ville? Est-ce qu'il aime cette ville? Aime-t-il cette ville? Next. Tu déjeunes au restaurant? Tu déjeunes au restaurant? Est-ce que tu déjeunes au restaurant? Déjeunes-tu au restaurant? Next. Vous allez à Paris? Vous allez à Paris? Est-ce que vous allez à Paris? Allez-vous à Paris? Est-ce que subject verb whatever the same thing will be there. Inversion, subject and verb interchanged. Verb first and then the subject with an hyphen. You can say. Nous parlons trop fort. Okay, with the question mark we say. Nous parlons trop fort. Nous parlons trop fort. Okay, and then est-ce que form. Est-ce que nous parlons trop fort? Parlons-nous trop fort? Okay, so that's it. So there are 3 forms of interrogation. One is the oral form. Il travaille, the same affirmative sentence with the question mark. Another one with esca, and the same affirmative sentence follows with the subject and the verb. Always with the subject and the verb. And then the inversion with the verb first and then the subject. Okay, this is inversion. So intonation, esca form, and inversion. These are the three methods of interrogation. So I want you to revise on these things: demonstrative adjectives, negation, and the interrogation. When you just see this video once again, you will get to know clearly. Okay. So that is interrogation alone, we didn't have much time to focus on, but still it's very easy. You can look at the example and learn it by yourself. Okay. Thank you, and let's meet tomorrow on the 14th day. Bye.